Alright, I'm back. I had to go help my dad with something. I've been gone for 13 minutes. But no, probably do 30 minutes of the game, 30 more minutes.
Grey Wardens?
Let's just tell the truth.
My, that does rather explain a lot. No offence, but I suspect there's more excitement on your path than my boy and I can handle. Allow me to bid you farewell and good fortune, though.
Goodbye.
Now then, let's get this mess cleaned up, shall we?
Hopefully they were not important NPCs. Demonic Ichor, sealed letter, mouth Karm's regrets, the Banarn. Alright, you said in camp is where you talk to companions and give them gifts. Alright. Carry your party meet the fourth. Improve trap making. The character has learned to create complex second tier traps.
Bad dreams, huh? Well, it is real. Sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The Archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight. I don't know if it's really a dragon, but it sure looks like one. But yes, that's the Archdemon. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the Archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me, too. That's what I'm here for. To deliver unpleasant news and witty one-liners. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on.
Not yet, though. Hello, Liliana.
Yes. Well, here I am. I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell. And the darkness drew me in. I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything? That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a blight to stop.
Let's save real quick before I preemptively make a mistake in conversation. So how do I actually recruit her real quick? Question mark. Where's Morgan? Can't be down a person. Weird. Or am I just missing her or something? Maybe she's by herself. So she is. Oh, would have expected. I should have expected that. Interacting with the dog.
you little... Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
She already is recruited. I mean, like, how do I bring her into my party? Is what I try to say.
Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone. It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
Ooh, that's some savage right there. Think he needs more meat bones.
The dirty
This is
mongrel
Dr.
can have this
Johnson,
back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
Might as well just talk to everybody. Well, I guess that's the end of the dog's dialogue. Alright, we're gonna talk to Liliana, then Morgan, Alistair. And then Morgan, and then we're gonna
Yes?
leave.
Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. Yes? Well, here I am. What is meant by someone like me?
Sanctimonious preachers like all the other chantries Alex don't teach you how to fight and closer to
And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no?
Okay. We're gonna do it. We're
My
going for it.
fruit? I can't believe I'm having this conversation. But no, I did not take vows. The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed. We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the Chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken. I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Okay. Thought I was gonna... okay. I actually want to see what she says if I pick the, that's
Yes?
what they say option. Well said option.
Well, here I am. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
Interesting. So they're, I wouldn't say essentially the same story that Flemeth told, but they have some similarities.
Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinter Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Keleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Keleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Keleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Keleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Keleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
The more you know. I already learned about Darkspawn. Already heard about
Which one?
About Dalish. What do you know about Andraste?
I have heard a little
Might as well.
about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in the land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves. named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker.
Alright,
Yes?
talk to her one more time.
Well, here I am.
Okay, we learned about all the tales. Let's talk to
What do you
Alistair
need?
one more time.
Ask away.
Oh, that's the same thing.
What do you wish of me? If you must.
Okay. That's the same thing.
It's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Ferric, at your service, once again. I saw your camp and thought to myself, what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of a Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes? Wonderful. Thank the kind lady, won't you, boy?
Thank you, kind lady.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me.
It's nice to know we have a... Pretty sure this camp is going to expand more in the future. But for now, I'm just going to save, you know. Anybody else here to talk to? We talked to the dog already. That's how we leave the area. Alistair, Liliana, Morgan. Let's talk to
Hello.
Sandal, shall
The
we?
boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed. He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it. Oh, certainly, I can do that for you. Just come with me.
Oh. Okay, guys. The Vishahel. Dragonbone. 2+ strength, 5 melee critical chance, 2 to stamina regeneration in combat, 10% critical backstab, 2 nature. Although the elves of Dales fought bravely against the Exalted March, the feat became obvious. The great elven general Rajmil hurled this axe at the enemy before leaping to his death over the forlorn walls. What about you? definitely a lot stronger than my stuff. So I will buy this, seeing as I have nothing else to buy, and I'll probably sell some weaponry. This looks like a branch that has been torn from a living tree. There's no aura of spite about it, as if we're filled with the walls. Okay, might as well buy it. Okay, let's see. What do I not need? Don't have the gloves, so I might as well buy those. Hold on. God, people just keep coming, goddammit. I'm just trying to stream. This is why I don't stream during the day.
Enchantment? Enchantment!
Oh, the only thing I can enchant is the Oathkeeper. I just want to do that. So it's that easy. Well, hopefully it continues to be that easy during, well, in all the other games. There you go. Well, seeing as people just want to siege me and come into my homely abode and bother me for no apparent reason, I guess I might as well stop the stream for the time being. Oh, she doesn't have any items. Okay, before I go, I'm gonna look at all my items real quick. Okay, let's change staff. Stark Spawn to the Sylvian's Mercy. Okay. Bought these for a reason. Kunori, they can compare. 10 mental resistance. Enchantress Call. I had no idea that was that good, TBH. Reduces hostility, 10 physical resistance. This amulet, 1 armor. Think about it. Okay, let's go to her, seeing as she doesn't have anything. Let's see. Yeah, I'll give her this. And that'd be the best choice. Let's go to Alistair. Warden's Longsword. Okay, I'm pretty sure Oathseeker. Yeah, it's straight up better. And it's one-handed too. So that works just fine. And Havard's Aegis is a lot better than I initially thought it would be. So there's no point in doing that. Okay, do I have any stronger equipment for him? Heavy chainmail. But, he's been getting the works. TBH. I didn't have one of those. Okay, last but not least, Morgan. Willpower, Morgan's Roads, Magic Staff. Is it better or worse than what I have? Darkspawn staff. Let's see. Magic staff, mage, damage higher, armor penetration, spell power, magic. Back to the Darkspawn staff. I guess she's alright. Take back. Make sure I didn't give him anything worse. Nope. Alright, it seems like my people are all good to go, I guess. Well, besides one little thing of me upgrading Alistair and my character skills. Well, spells. I swear I leveled up. D, up, down, right. Oh yeah, right. I gotta go to this menu, right? There you go. I could put a point in the shapeshifter, but I don't really want that at the current moment in time. I'll go ahead and get 30 magic so I don't have to worry about it for a while. And a little bit of constitution, seeing as I've been taking a lot of damage. Damage from basic attacks. Flaming weapon. What else can I get? I already have all of that. Mass rejuvenation and whatnot. Okay. Grease. Don't care. Hostile spell. Not useful yet. Spell casting target. Not useful yet. Don't care. Don't really care. Paralyzed. Not useful yet. Vulnerability. Leave all the hexes to her. I guess for all intents and purposes, I might as well get this. So that way I'll be one step closer to getting the other skill. Because that was just overall help my damage. Okay, let's go to Alistair. Strength, dexterity, and 1 constitution. Seeing as he's just getting rolled by many people. And I'm gonna just have him weapon and shield for the time being. This mode, the character shield becomes nearly a fortress, adding a significant bonus to armor and a greater likelihood of shrugging off the missile attacks, but at the cost of reduced damage. Break knockdown attacks when there's no visual mastery. Might as well, right? He's a little bit weaker than the rest of us. For some ungodly reason. She has... Of course she has max healing. And poison making. Oh. That's interesting. Talents. Rogue. Bard. Archery. So she's more of a rogue. So, question. With her, I'll probably be able to unlock stuff. But I'll worry more about that later. For the time being, I'm gonna just save again in the same exact spot because why not? And then I'm gonna let my Xbox rest for like 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna go try to get at least 30 to 40 minutes of what's his face or Princia real quick, post it on YouTube. But I'll definitely be back for this game tonight. Why did you say Han, Willie? Okay. Well, yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and possibly subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know down in the comments. But until then, I'll see everyone in the next part of my Dragon Age Origins Let's Play. Which for you guys will be 3 days after this video posts on YouTube. All that good stuff. Let's see, I left for like 13 minutes. Stream time 80 minutes. 13 minus 7. So I got what, 63? good minutes. 67 good minutes.